Okay, we all like to race, whether it's like motorcycles, dirt bikes, or just running and track, and of course you always race to win. And a lot of people do it for the adrenaline rush also, but most of the time when you're doing something for the adrenaline rush, it's usually quite dangerous, but we just don't notice it. So one day, it was in the summer, I was at my dad's for the weekend, and we live in a really, really small town. It's like a population of 75 people. And so all the roads are gravel, and my grandma only lives a block away, so we're over there like every day, all the time. And so one day, me, my dad, and my sister were over at my grandma's eating lunch. Me and my sister had rode our bikes over there because we just rode our bikes everywhere in the summer. Like, we just went on bike rides all the time. And so it was time to go because we were done eating lunch. And my dad had a bright idea to race home, even though he didn't have a bike, and so he'd be running. So I was like, okay, well, I'm obviously going to win because I'm on a bike and he's just running. And so I gave him like a couple seconds head start. And I was going, and we were going down an alley, and like the first half of it is someone else's property, and then the second half of the block is our property. And so we were going down the alley, and he was in front of me the whole time because the alley is really narrow, and I couldn't pass him, and he was running right in front of me so that I couldn't pass him. And so we were getting to the end of the alley and on our property, and he decided to stop because, you know, we got there and he thought he won. But I was so close behind him, and he didn't really realize that because he wasn't looking back or anything. And so if I wouldn't have stopped, I would have hit him. And so I have a tendency to use the front brake instead of the back brake. And I wasn't really thinking because it was in the moment. And so I pulled on the front brake because it was in the moment. It was just, and so I slammed on it, and I flew over my handlebars, and the bike behind me was like just in the air, flying, whatever. And I landed on the gravel, and I didn't really notice like that it hurt or anything, just because like when something like that happens, you're not thinking about how bad it's going to hurt when you hit the ground. And I kind of blacked out for a little bit. And so when I like kind of came to, my dad was standing over me. He was laughing at me because it was his fault. But then we saw that there was glass all over the gravel. And so I stood up, and there were cuts all over me and like gashes and stuff. And so he had to pick out all the glass and the gravel from all my cuts. Just didn't feel good at all, and pour rubbing alcohol over it. And then most of them healed, but there's still like, I have a scar on my knee because they were pretty deep. And so my lesson is not to mess with my dad because he always thinks he can win and never really ends well. But a lesson for you guys is that usually when an adrenaline rush is involved, or racing or anything like that, you should just kind of expect to get hurt if you're not being careful, because it's probably going to happen.
Okay.